Good morning. Uh, we're here I'm Rodrigo Jasso,
My name is David Cantu.
and uh, we have two different SDGs. The first SDG is gender equality.
And my SDG is number 8, decent work and economic growth.
So basically, about gender equality, we focused on the part of woman discrimination, and on woman discrimination, we focused on the discrimination in a workplace and the life after a woman is discriminated in a workplace and different demographics.
So in that way, we could make the two SDGs and talk about it, like the decent work in the women's not having the same rights. So that's the way we are getting together these two SDGs.
So first, I think that our three interviews, we interviewed three different persons. The first two ones were both women that one is a mother and a mother of 4 children that had already worked and had experience, and the other one is a student or a student who is almost finishing the school.
And in my interviews, I interview a owner of a company that gives jobs to people. So it could be a combination with the women's and other a student of this topic of economic. So this could that is a woman. So this could be get together.
So in the first interview that we interviewed the mother, it was interesting how she she was working, she was discriminated but didn't realize it until I interviewed her. She said that she was obligated to use uniform while men weren't, and this is a type of discrimination that was on the past years. They didn't know what was the discrimination until now that they are more conscious about it. But the interesting thing is that our interviews all have been discriminated.
Yes, Rodrigo, how you are telling us in the woman category in Mexico, there's a 40% of people that have informal labor, that it's taken like las muchachas. And an interviewer, we talk about it, he says that this is pretty bad in Mexico because these persons, like women that works in houses, don't have the same rights that a formal labor should have, and they win over the money they should be winning, and sometimes they are abused and not having the formal labor same situation jobs.
And this is not only in informal jobs, like this not only happens in informal jobs, also happen in formal jobs. That in the other person we talked to was like I said, a student that is almost finishing, and she said that she known a teacher in the school that has been discriminated because she tried to enter a job but couldn't. And this is kind of examples of formal jobs that are also could be discriminated.
In our both SDGs and interviews, our interviewers talk about how this can affect the society. In my interview point of the labor force and decent work, when I interviewed a student of a career, she tell about how girls and women don't have the same opportunities in the labor force than men's.
Yes, also in in another interview of the student is finishing school, he made a point of view that if both women and men have the same opportunities in the society works, that there will be more knowledge on both sides of both men learning from women and women learning from men, and it would be more like more exclusive environment, and both will be benefit and learnings.
In conclusion, these two SDGs, the decent works and gender equality, have such in common in the problems, how we explained it in the interviewers. They get to the same solutions and problems because all these problems get together in one point.
We noticed that all the interviews have knowledge of the theme very well and know the dangers of being discriminated or the consequences of a person who can be discriminated and want to do. And we concluded that these two SDGs get along and can get connected, and most specifically with our topics. So thank you for listening.
And see you next week in our podcast.